I was not a Kevin Samuels fan. As you may know, if you've seen many of my videos or certain videos that I've made about him, you know that I was not a fan. Now, I'm going to have a debate, upcoming debate with Mgtow Cowboy, and we're going to debate or discuss are we monogamous creatures? He thinks that Kevin Samuels was right and that we are not monogamous creatures. Now, the reason I want to talk about some points regarding Kevin Samuels is not to talk about him really, but my concern is where the minds of many men are, who thought so much of him, of Kevin Samuels, that they defend him, they looked up to him, they, considered him to be the godfather. And if you notice on the internet, there's so many just that just are on his side as if he was king of this or king of that. um and what it did was or what it does is disturb me regarding the mentality of many men, because as I've stated before, I was not a fan of Kevin Samuels for the fact that he was like a pastor, a charlatan pastor. Now, what I'm saying is that, I mean, I'm able to acknowledge that he made a lot of good points. Okay, just like you have a lot of charlatan pastors make a lot of good points. They say a lot of true things. They make excellent sermons at times, but ultimately they mislead the flock or the people who are listening to them. They use their uh, charisma and intelligence to fleece the flock. Really, they know better than what they teach, but they teach what is beneficial for them to teach rather than the whole truth. And so men like this are held accountable, or should be held accountable, because they deceive so many people who are unaware. Now, Kevin Samuels presented himself as being a believer, okay, a Christian believer. Now, what I want to do is I want to disengage and read some of these comments here, just kind of leading up to an upcoming debate that I intend to have with Mgtow Cowboy. Okay. Now, in response to this video that I just made, Mgtow deceived to believe we men and women are not monogamous creatures. I want to read these comments, and I also want to say too that if you are a Mgtow man who um, thought so much of Kevin Samuels disparaged Mgtow men. You know, and that was another thing that let me say shocked me. Not really shocked, because when you see through someone, you observe that they are hypocritical in the things that they say. Okay, given his knowledge of the modern day woman, how could he not sympathize with or uh, agree with the ideology of Mgtow? How could he disparage Mgtow men? How could that be possible for a man of his knowledge and experience with the modern day woman? His show itself exposed the talking points of Mgtow men. It just put women's mentality on full display. All right, so I just wanted to say that, are you aware of that? Okay, the narc perspective. He says, I'm a Kevin Samuels fan, but I didn't believe everything he said. Okay, he had a lot of good points, true, but sinning against God is always a bad idea. Okay, true, yeah. The only thing I just don't, I just wasn't a fan just because of ultimately where he led people. Okay, and now there's a lot of people who disagree, and I look forward to the discussions. One question I like to ask people is, what would you say Kevin Samuel's main point was? Where was he leading people? If you had to sum it up in one sentence, what would you say his intentions were? What was, what was he trying to accomplish? All right, fair player. He says, where I think Kevin Samuels betrayed men, okay, where he says, I think Kevin Samuels betrayed men was his crafty way of getting them to improve themselves so that they can return to the same, to serve the dusty, dysfunctional counterpart. Okay. Okay, right. He's leading them, right, leading them right back to the women that we understand that we're having a problem with. Okay, now this is I'm looking forward to discussions because there are actually some questions that I have about Kevin Samuels because I may speak in ignorance as to some of the points that he made. But I did know that he was that he either started or he spoke about these groups that he would have where he was trying to get couples together. And so I heard a lot of people saying that Kevin Samuels is what did they say? Saving lives, saving lives. Now I can't deny that whenever he says something true and right, then that would help if people apply it. I'm not speaking against that. But when we get into our discussions, I will elaborate more. But let's see what a fair player is saying here again. Let me start again. Where I think Kevin Samuels betrayed men was his crafty way of getting them to improve themselves so that they can return to serve the dusty, dysfunctional counterpart. His only solution and option for those men was to choose more and more of these broken vessels. He never advocated for men to try out better godly cultures. Okay, right. That was something. That was something that seemed to shy away from with any. And anyone correct me if I am wrong. Okay, but I'm speaking on what I've uh, witnessed him say or didn't say, and or observed the way he would speak. He seemed to avoid um, any talk about godliness, things like that. Um, and like you said here, and I think that's harmonious with what I observed. You said he never advocated for men to try out better godly cultures, many of which are outside the USA. Any man that elevates a woman's interest above a man's is subverting the order of the Most High. Because man, okay, now when you said that, I can't remember him teaching to elevate a woman's interest above a man's. So someone may have to help me on why, or maybe you could help me on why you're saying this. If you're implying that Kevin Samuels taught that. Okay, any man that elevates a woman's interest above a man's is subverting the order of the Most High because man was not created to serve his counterpart. True, he was created to serve the Most High. Okay, I agree with you on that. Domain Stickum, this man is correct. God said, let every man have his own wife and let every wife have her own husband. The two shall become one flesh. It is the love of a husband and wife that brings forth a family. Children made in the image of the mother and father. There is no third wheel. When you state your values before the Lord, there is no third wheel. Okay, good point. Yes, I agree with that. Now, although they agree with what is laid out here, they may still believe that we are not monogamous creatures. And I'd like to have a discussion on that because I think that I could show, or we could show ourselves that we are monogamous creatures. and I don't want to bring up the points at the moment. Okay, Birder 88, Kevin Samuels was against a lot of traditional values. Yeah, it definitely appeared. That's the way he did present himself in a lot of the things that he said. And so I had a problem with that, being that he identified himself as a believer, okay, a Christian. So you, how, if you're identifying yourself as that, then why are you speaking out in opposition to the traditional values or biblical values? You see, this is what I definitely had a problem with him about, and I did not respect him for that. Okay, because of what he was ultimately leading people to, and what he ultimately led women to, or facilitated their materialistic desires. You see, Mgtow Cowboy Kevin Samuels was right. We should debate. Okay, I'm off Saturday and Sunday. Okay, yeah, we spoke about this. Okay, I look forward to speaking with you, Mr. Mgtow Cowboy. All right, and so I guess I'll end here. I just wanted to say a couple of things as to why I wanted to speak about this. Ultimately, I'm just really concerned about bettering society, but what does that entail? Just as we have, just as the elite or the powers that be, people in control, have brainwashed us or continue to brainwash us, desensitize us to traditional values, where we're in rejection of that, and where like anything goes, and it's confusion of gender, all of these things that we are being brainwashed to accept. So if we're mentally weak, men and women, we know that many women have been deceived by feminism, but many men are also being deceived by men who ultimately lead them to a mentality which Kevin Samuels taught, regarding the quote unquote high value man. And by the way, high value men are not the only men who, let me see, believe they have the right to cheat, just because they're desirable. They have this or that. I mean, you have a lot of poor guys who are very good with the ladies. So your status, your monetary status has nothing to do with your ability to get women. Now, if you are, if of course, if you make more money, you may be in an environment or become more visible, because of your monetary status, you may become more visible to women. Okay, but as far as being able to be with a lot of women, that just takes pretty much just confidence, um, and knowing how to talk to women, because women really respond to words, words, words. You don't have to have money. Okay, but you will attract women just because you have money, because you have a lot of women, because women are basically materialistic. But the way to get a woman is through her mind, your words, selling her something, you know. So, all right, I'm going to stop here. And so, again, yeah, I want to get in men's heads, you know, like these other guys have gotten into your head, and you've been duped, you've been deceived, and now you're even more at a disadvantage, because like the women, you've been given a mentality which is counterproductive to ever making things right.